tune into another episode of For the Love of the Game, episode 33. It's myself, Dre. I've got Skirvin. Ronaldo should be joining us shortly. And we've got a returning guest, Wavy Davy. How are things, people? Everyone good?
All good.
Yeah, man. Good, thank you, man. Pleasure to be here. As you know, it's been a couple of months since we last checked in, so I think it's a good time for us to reconvene.
I bet it is. I can hear the smugness in your voice. A lot to get through this week. We're going to obviously review the weekend's games. We're going to review the Champions League and Europa League draws. Some very interesting games there. Going to pick our World Cup squad as well. England's squad will be announced in a couple of days. Going to do the weekend preview, and we're going to do the winners and losers of the weekend just gone. But first, I think we need to talk about the big game of the weekend. Certain teams are going to Stamford Bridge and turning up and, winning on a regular basis now. Arsenal fans have to start calling it 3-point bridge in that. Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. As the resident Arsenal fan here, might as well start with Wavy Davy. He was here a couple of months ago, and the start of the season he said, we have winnable games, and we should win those games. And whatever happens from there, we go from there. We're a week shy of the World Cup break. Arsenal are top. We're a point clear of City.
2 points. 2 points.
2 points clear of City. The only defeat is United. They've beaten Liverpool. They've gone to the bridge and won yesterday. Before we talk about Arsenal's season, we'll talk about the game yesterday. How big is that win against Chelsea on Sunday for Arsenal's season?
Do you know the narrative that I've been kind of going? I'm being honest, and I know you said we're going to talk about the season as opposed to just the individual game, but the actual individual game was bigger than the result for me. It was kind of a shift in. Okay, so even going back to what you said earlier about that, we've been to Stamford Bridge for the last 3 games and won successfully. Now, the last 2 times we've gone there, I don't think we've convincingly beat Chelsea. I think we've got the result on the day. Whereas the difference today, the difference on Sunday was the fact that we looked very assured in our performance. So I think for me, we're moving away from literally just trying to go to a club, grab a result, grab the 3 points, smash and grab, and actually being able to dominate teams. So the culture of the club's shifting, in my opinion, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think the way that and I know there's been a lot of talk in the media about how we celebrate wins, but the way that we were able to celebrate that win was kind of different for me, because we're now talking about beating London clubs, in it, like the top London clubs. So we beat Tottenham, we beat Chelsea, we still got to play West Ham, we've played Bournemouth. So I say Bournemouth, we played Brentford. And I think for me, like I said, it's a shift for us, isn't it? So it's a positive result. We're moving in the right direction. And for me, let's just see what we're going, isn't it? But in terms of the performance on the day, for me, if we're going to talk about standout players, I think we said it in the pre-chat, Thomas Partey for me was immense. I think Jesus, what he done in terms of dropping in for people in their positions when they've kind of gone out of position, that was paramount. And the last point I'm going to make is another conversation I've been having a lot about is Oba or Jesus. And one of the things that was mentioned to me was that if Oba was getting the chances that Jesus was getting, then he would be putting them away. And I think that's a valid point. I think that's a valid conversation. I'm not even going to negate from that. However, what I will say is that the fluidity that Jesus provides us and the way that we are able to play with him, it allows the other players like Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard to do their thing. So I'm happy with the way that we're playing at the moment. I'm happy to continue to and not to use Arteta's quote, but to trust the process in it. For me, and I said it when I came on the pod after the first game of the season, I think it was. I predict us to finish third, and I'm not shying away from the fact that I still think potentially we'll finish about third. I think that's the lowest that I would take given where we are in the season. But yeah, that performance against Chelsea was big. So for me, it's just almost an up from here, innit?
Okay. Skirvin, what's your thoughts on Arsenal's performance? I know you've been ranting and raving about them this season. You think they're in a title race. Yeah. Do you think Arsenal are? Do you think City would have seen that game on Sunday and been, taken notice of Arsenal?
110%. Even though it was, I must say, it was a weakened Chelsea side, but Arsenal still had to go to the bridge and get the job done. Simple as, and that's what they went and did. And not only did they do that, they dominated us from start to finish the whole game. Do you know what I mean? And it's the celebration after the game. Do you know what I mean? That's a different Arsenal. That's a different set of Arsenal supporters standing there at the bridge cheering on the Arsenal supporters, bro, the Arsenal players, bro. And even what's his name got caught up in his emotions after the game. Shaka, they interviewed him and he had a little swear and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like the players are feeling it, bro. There's a bounce around the club. Things is different, bro. And I think that game, everyone's got to stand up in the Prem and say that, well, Arsenal are serious contenders, brother. And that's the end of it. That you just got to stand up and just give them plaudits, bro. Because what Arteta's doing or what he's done, what he's implemented, you got to give him his praises. That's that. That's facts.
You know what? I don't know if it was because Arsenal were good or Chelsea were poor. Like,
Can I say something on that? Can I say something on that?
go on.
I think you raise a fair point because I literally just tweeted about this about half an hour ago. So Rio Ferdinand said something, and he said Arsenal, it's a good result, but Arsenal played a second string Chelsea team. They didn't have Kepa, they didn't have James, they didn't have Kante, they didn't have Koulibaly.
Here's my thing to that. I don't think if any of those players played just on Sunday, it would have made any difference to the result.
Okay.
I don't think it would have made any difference whatsoever to the result. To me, it's the way Potter set them out to play. And I want to say they're not listening to him, but it just looks like if plan A don't work, there's no plan B.
Mm.
And to me, what was it, about a year ago or about 15 months ago, weren't Chelsea top of the league?
But
And
with
virtually the same squad. And everyone's like, it's the
that?
squad depth and whatever. Go on.
Bro, would you be saying the same thing? I'm sorry, you weren't saying the same thing when you lot beat Chelsea.
When was that? We ain't beat Chelsea this season.
Have you not played Chelsea? Yeah.
We drew with them 1-1.
Oh yeah, sorry. But you're not going to discredit Chelsea, sorry, for that performance.
No, we dominate. No, we dominated Chelsea. We should have won that game. I was vexed we didn't win that game.
So do we.
After half hour,
we should have won that game.
After half hour, Chelsea came into the game, but that half hour should have won the game.
Here's why I give Arsenal the respect, and I think why everyone's a bit gassed is because it's the first game this season where, out of the big six, the away teams won.
That's right.
And I always feel like that's the sign of a top team when when there's a big six game, the away team wins, and also it's the manner in which you win as well, because it lays down a marker in it. No matter what Chelsea team was put out yesterday, it's still a good team because the squad depth Chelsea have is good enough, no matter what team they put out, to win a football game.
Exactly.
Up top, they had the best striker on the pitch in Aubameyang. Sterling's not no slap, but and I mean by striker, finisher. Okay, to me, Gabriel Jesus is better than Aubameyang, innit? But in terms of finisher, who would I want with a gilt-edged chance? I'd want Aubameyang instead of Jesus. Yeah. But in terms of everything else, like Arsenal, how can I put it? That was a statement win to the rest of the Premier League. But it is a poor. They won in it. They won at Stamford Bridge. It's not an easy place to go to, and at the end of the day, not many teams win at Stamford Bridge.
Why are you finding it hard to praise us, bro? Man's taking bare breaths like,
But it's not a good, like, to me, it weren't a good, it weren't like Chelsea played well, and it weren't because Arsenal made them not play well. It was because there's something wrong with Chelsea.
No, I know, Dre, but you know what? Let's talk about things things in the bigger context now, innit? Let's move away slightly from the game, because obviously I'm here to talk about Arsenal fundamentally. Like, across the course of the season, and I'm not saying, because you said it as well, innit? Like, against Leeds, we never played well. Like, we deserved to lose that game, to be fair. Against Southampton, we didn't play well. We didn't play well again. We lost against you. But other than that, we've been consistent. And I remember coming on here and as you said earlier, innit? I said the start of the season, the fixtures were favourable to us, innit? And we made the most of them fixtures. So we can talk about this isolated game. We could talk about Chelsea not performing that well. But I think fundamentally, like, we're just doing what we can do to be in the mix right now. And I think that's the most important thing. Am I wrong?
Here's why I say them. But here's why as I've always said, they're not, to me, I don't think they're going to win the league. I don't think it's going to be, I think City are going to end up walking it. But because the World Cup has come at such an awkward, it's not even at the halfway point in the season. It's like 5 or 6 games before that. To me, Arsenal have done the best thing they could possibly do in terms of the top 4 race and getting points on the board. Like you said, Wavy, if they don't finish top 3, I think if Arsenal end up struggling to finish top 4, you've got to look at Arteta. Even I'm being dead serious. Because no, you have to, because no. But to me, because City gonna end up walking it. I don't think Arsenal be in the title race. To me, I don't think they will be. But they've had a very, very good start to the season. You can't knock it. You cannot knock it. They've been very fortunate with injuries. They're playing the best football in the league. I fully respect it. They're not in the title race for me. The title race ain't even started yet. But
they're playing the best football in the league.
So Brighton plays some of the best football in the league. They're crap. You know what I mean?
Nah, Dre.
Like,
come on.
What?
Dre, all right, cool. Let me pull up a couple of things that you said in it, yeah?
Go ahead.
Because, for example...
Bring out the dossier.
For example, you said, like, the World Cup is going to derail Arsenal's season, we're going to lose momentum, etc. Like, and if this was the normal season... No, look, hold on, please, sorry. Hold on. You said if this was the normal season, you'd be heaping praise on Arsenal, but it's not. Imagine some of these players have bad World Cups, but I'm like, brother, everybody's players are going to the World Cup. Number one. Secondly, what if these players have good World Cups? Like, what does that then mean?
Who plays for a country that actually could do something at the World Cup that plays for Arsenal?
Saliba, Jesus,
France going home early.
Yeah.
Saliba ain't even going to start.
Martinelli. Saliba's not going to start.
What game is Martinelli going to start? What, the 3rd, 4th place player?
Okay. So how does that then make it a bad World Cup then? If they're not playing, how does it make it bad?
They've gone there to cheerlead, didn't it? Rustiness.
Bro, come on.
It's true though.
Like, your thing is, like, you've got a thing against Arsenal, but let's just.
I just go off. This
Man
what I'm
said,
saying,
I don't, bro. Your tone even changed.
Well, this is what I'm saying about Arsenal. Yeah, we've watched them capitulate year after year. To me, I don't. If I was Arsenal fan, I wouldn't trust them to finish off the job.
All right, you know what? I've got a question for you. I've got another thing for you.
Right.
Yeah, because obviously I know
The
you're on
same
this
man
Game of
that
Thrones.
had top 4 in the bag last season, and then went to White Hart Lane and pissed their pants, bruv. They
No,
went up to
facts.
Geordie Land, and saw what's his name, True Geordie, and shit their pants 3 days later.
No, facts. No, you're right. You're right. I can't even deny that.
Like,
But
the season ain't even started yet. Just like Pep said, the season has not started yet. After the World Cup, that's when the season will start.
all right, cool. I'm gonna leave it there still. I'm gonna leave
Go
it
on,
there.
roll off the dossier.
Let's not dominate. No, let's not dominate about Arsenal. It's fine. It's fine. I'm happy to move the conversation on.
Okay. Let's let's slide over to the west side of London now. Skirvin, you mentioned it. Chelsea haven't looked good the last few home games. It's this worrying times now for Chelsea and especially Graham Potter.
I believe so. I don't see that the players in themselves look like they believe in what the coach is trying to implement because I don't see no urgency about them. Like you got Loftus Cheek in midfield, like losing the ball, like he's walking in his bedroom, like he's not up for the game. No, serious, bro. That's not how Chelsea player plays, bro. In centre of midfield, bro. It don't work
But
like that, bro.
I was saying in
Yeah.
another group chat, yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Skirvin. I was saying in another group chat, yeah. I was looking at that midfield battle on Sunday, and I feel like Arsenal play with 3 anyway because like we said in the pre-chat, Zinchenko tucks in, so Zinchenko, Partey, and Xhaka. And I'm looking at Chelsea. It's Jorginho, Loftus Cheek, and Mount. And I'm thinking, like, who in there is going to put in a tackle for Chelsea? No one. That midfield is soft, like a red velvet cake, bruv. And I looked at that, and I'm like, nah, Arsenal got this. And like, no one put in a tackle. No one got the crowd up. Like,
That's what I'm saying. So
it's
it was
just,
dead.
mate. But yeah, go on, Scott. Sorry to interrupt.
I just don't feel that Potter is. I know past the pods I've bigged up Potter while he was at Brighton, but I just feel this job's a bit too big for him.
But
And,
do you know what? Don't you think? Don't you think that maybe? And I was saying this to a Chelsea fan yesterday. Don't you think maybe they're changing their philosophy and they're thinking potentially it doesn't make sense to get in a short-term manager?
I don't think this owner knows squat diddly boo about football, bro.
And let's
Be
not
honest.
skip the subject here, but let's be real. That's what's happened at Arsenal. Yeah, in terms of Arteta, like we stuck through him in times where, like, even I, as an Arsenal fan, I saw a tweet yesterday where it said, "Where we're all."
Hello?
Hello?
Feel
Jay?
like, yeah, I'm here. Seems that Wavy's gone, bruv. All right, we'll continue anyway. But
Yeah.
in terms of Potter, do you think he? Well, it's early days. What's it been? A few months. Has there been any difference in performance from Tuchel to Potter?
No, there ain't been no difference to be honest with you. I just feel that Chelsea have become instead of more aggressive, they've become just more passive. And especially at home, like I said on the last pod, I said I ain't seen a Chelsea team at home play that so that on the back foot, yeah, for all game they're on the back foot, bruv. Yeah. I ain't seen that happen since Ranieri was at the club, bro. That's back in 2000 and what, three?
Mm.
So that I don't see Potter working, mate. And I think the Chelsea fans will get, you know,
Do you think he's got to come out the mentality of being a Brighton manager? Maybe that's still in his head of inferiority complex when he's playing the big teams.
Sorry, can I go back to the point I was saying? 'Cause I know I cut out
Oh,
for him, but
yeah,
don't
go on. Go on.
don't you think that Chelsea are potentially saying that they're gonna? What I was trying to say about the whole project thing is that Arteta has had times where even I have, as an Arsenal fan, have been like, do you know what? I don't think this is gonna work. Like when he was talking about trust the process and that, it got to a point where I stopped trusting it. However, he's been able to ride through that and see brighter days. And I think that the way that clubs are going now, we always see a trend in it in how football clubs work and managers work. I think there was a period where United bought in Mourinho just to ensure that you got some silverware. And it got to that point because that's how football was led by Chelsea, to be fair. I feel like Ten Hag is more a project manager. I don't feel like he's coming in and trying to directly get success this season. Like I don't think it's built on that. So don't you think Potter might get that chance where he can, build his culture in the club? Because remember, these are
no,
not his players. That's what we have to respect as well, isn't it? These are not his players. He's come in
That's
at the
true.
middle of the season, and he's got to work with these tools that's in front of him. Like even the whole Kepa and Mendy goalkeeper situation, I think it's a bit mad because remember I was saying to you, Skirv, like Mendy was the main keeper. Potter came in, he chose Kepa. Kepa got injured and then had to choose back Mendy as his goalkeeper. So, and what is his philosophy? Like, what's the best keeper for him in his system? So, I feel like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't feel like Potter's doing a good job right now. However, I do feel like this new culture of Chelsea might be different to what Abramovich was on because he was on, listen, trophies, if you're not on that, later. Whereas I honestly, I don't think Tuchel should have been sacked, but I think that's more an internal problem in the club.
I think, especially with American owners, they're very used to keeping coaches in charge of teams, even when the teams are bad. But if they know there's a long-term project in place, then they will keep them in charge. But if they don't see progress within the process, they will get rid of him. So I
Facts.
feel you can look at even with Stan Kroenke with his American teams, some of them have been rubbish, but obviously they've got a process of building the team up to get to a certain point in it. They've
Mm-hmm.
used that model with Arsenal. And I think in an ideal world, but probably in a normal world, every other owner of the Premier League club, Arteta would have been gone.
Facts. And
He
I
would have
agree.
been gone
I
probably within a
totally agree.
season.
Yeah, I totally
Probably would have
agree.
gone within a season. But where I give you have to give Stan Kroenke respect for what he's done by keeping Arteta in charge, innit? Because when everyone, and every Arsenal fan I know at some point has said Arteta out
Facts. Facts.
with their chest. They were ready to buy them
yeah,
troop shirts that said Arteta
Well,
out.
I say everyone because I know certain men that weren't on that. To be fair, there were certain men that I know that weren't, but the majority, including myself, were saying, "Yeah, it's time done now." It got
He's
to a
had a
low
great
point.
start to. He's had a great start season. Who knows how the season ends up? But at the same time, he's done well. Like if Arteta was to lose his job tomorrow, he could go and get a job somewhere else. He's even linked with the Barca job. So
100%.
you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? With Potter, he's not a bad manager. This is a group. This is a group and a squad of players that are just taught to play to win, not to play a certain way of football, and they've
Mm-hmm.
been ingrained in that for years. So to now suddenly to get them to play a system and a philosophy is going to be difficult. Where Arteta's had the luxury is that Arsenal weren't good when he took them over. What were they, eighth?
Yep.
So, but with Potter, Chelsea are not far removed. They were beginning of the year, they won the Club World Cup.
Hmm.
A year earlier, Champions League winners. So he's not going to be afforded that luxury of even Chelsea finishing 5th or 6th and say it's a rebuilding. Nah, because Chelsea, the process has started, but you have to bring progress immediately. And that's where it's
That's
going to
for
be
me.
difficult for Potter. It has to be top 4 is the minimum for Chelsea, no matter what happens, because that squad is still good enough to finish in the top 4. It's not like the the Arsenal team that Arteta inherited was pushing Europa League at best, isn't it? Potter has to deliver top 4 immediately. Then in the summer, then he can, because I think Kante's out of contract, so I think they're going to release him. I think, is it Jorginho? I think he's out of contract. You've got to get rid of some of the old guard, like Aspilicueta, whatever his name is. Him. You've got to make decisions about players like Loftus Cheek. Is he good enough to be at Chelsea? And then you've got to bring in your own players. And then also he's got to come out of this Brighton mindset of being inferior, thinking you're inferior to the top teams. Like, you can't be letting Arsenal, Manchester United come to Stamford Bridge and believing that they can walk onto the pitch and play football. Like, Stamford Bridge usually is the toughest ground to go to in the Premier League, especially in a Big Six game. Like, United have a terrible record at Stamford Bridge. And if we were a bit more ruthless, we would have been 3-0 up at halftime. Like, even on Sunday, I've never seen Arsenal have it so easy at Stamford Bridge. If you showed anyone football for the first time on Sunday, they would have thought Arsenal were the home team.
Yeah, true.
Like, so that's what Potter's got to get out of his system. But I think he definitely deserves time, and I think he will get it. But if the results don't pick up,
He's gone.
it's going to be impossible for
Mm.
Todd Bowie to ignore that noise, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
So, with that being said, Skirvin, because Wavy's already said where he thinks Arsenal minimum should finish now, yeah? With that being said, we're almost at the World Cup break. I think, 14 games in now?
Yep. 13, 14
What,
for some teams.
where do you see Arsenal? What's the minimum? I don't want to see where you think they're going to finish, but what's the minimum now for Arsenal and where they should finish at the end of the season?
For me, the way they play, depending how they come back after the World Cup, i.e., the squad. I don't think they should think no more than second, bro.
Yeah, fair. That's very fair.
If they come back with a full squad, fit squad, I don't think Arsenal should think no less than second. To be fair,
I actually agree with that still. I ain't gonna lie. I'll put my neck on the line and say that I agree with that. Whilst I'm saying third, because it was my prediction, I am saying right now, yeah, I agree. Given the context that you said, Scurv, yeah, I'm rolling with that.
Do you think Arsenal should add in January?
and that's the next thing is.
And if they do add,
they
where should they add?
Up front, they need a striker. They need a clinical striker. Jesus ain't doing it, but like Wavy D said, he links up the play good. Then he makes the football play the football play more flowing. But
Oh, God.
they need someone clinical, just like just like City's got their Haaland. Right now, they need a clinical gunman striker. And right now, before Arsenal couldn't go in the market and get no big striker, but right now a big striker will go to Arsenal.
If I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at Vlahovic at Juve. You know,
That's what I'm saying. They were in for him before.
but here's where I don't think they need a clinical striker. Because when you look at the modern day number 9s, yeah, I know a lot of people like to get on this Aubameyang would be bagging the goals that what's his name? Jesus is missing. But he bagged goals for Arsenal, and Arsenal were finished 6th and 7th and 8th.
That's my point. Thank you.
And this is what I said about Ronaldo last season, Cristiano Ronaldo. He bagged 18 goals, but we finished 6th. It's easy to score goals on a bad team, you know.
Thank you, Trey. That's
so
my
easy
point.
to score
That's what I was
goals on
trying
a
to
bad
say
team.
the other day. Because the thing is, with Aubameyang, we might score 2, but we might concede 3. Because the whole system is based around from up front to defense. And you've got one man who's deviating from that system,
and here's
it just messes up everything.
And here's why I say Martial is important to Manchester United, yeah? Because you see how he links up the play. The era of the gunman number 9, the era of the gunman number 9s is dead because there's only one serious gunman number 9 in world football. That's Haaland. The rest are hybrids. The rest are hybrids of 9s and 10s.
What I'm trying to say is Arsenal need that player when Jesus is not fit. They need a guy to say boom. They need a guy to stand up to do the same job as Jesus, and to be honest, to be more clinical. That's what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Because without Jesus, you got up front to do your thing. I know they got Martin.
This is what I think is the pleasure, and maybe I'm saying this from a biased perspective in it, but I think the pleasure of it is that even against Chelsea, Martinelli was kind of our centre forward. He wasn't actually playing left wing. If you check it, in the way that our system kind of adapted to when we had the ball.
If you watch how Arsenal play as well, yeah, it's like Saka and Martinelli are the guys that are expected to score in it.
That's it.
And it's not Jesus. Jesus is the glue.
That's it.
Like, similar to how Martial plays for United, he's the glue. He links every man into the game, innit? Like the way, for example, you want Aubameyang. Like, put it this way: when's the last time a gunman number 9 won the Golden Boot and their team won the Premier League? There you go. You have to think. Because now it's not just you stick a guy up front and he has 6 touches and scores 3 goals. Like Haaland's an anomaly, innit? Your number 9 is just as important defensively as your centre back. So what Gabriel Jesus, the only thing he doesn't provide for Arsenal is goals, but everything else he provides. And he's one of the best in Europe at doing what he does, isn't it? So for now, I think when it gets into the crunch time of the season, that's when you're going to judge Jesus, because he's going to need to pop up. Because he's been brought in to score in the big games, isn't it? When it gets to squeaky bum time, when it gets into squeaky bum time towards the end of the season, that's when Jesus is going to be needed to score goals.
Yeah,
because Haaland will do that for City. But right now, for what he's doing, you cannot fault it.
Right now, we got Ronaldo in the place.
Yes, Ronaldo's here.
What's happening, lads? Everyone all right?
I'm good, mate. You missed the Potter conversation. I'm gonna give you your time because I know you've got a lot to say. I know you've got a lot to say about Graham Potter.
Is it me or is it a mad feedback?
Yeah, it's Skirvin. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mute your mic. Yeah, go on, Ronaldo.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brothers, I'm here, man. What's going on?
Because
with Potter,
we just finished talking about Potter and his if it's pressure time for him. I know you've got a lot to say on Potter. The floor is yours.
Come on, lads. Of course it's pressure time and Potter. Come on. He's lost 2 in a row in the league. He's got City in the cup and Newcastle next games. Come on, mate. This could be make or break for him. I know Chelsea fans are gonna say, yeah, he needs time, whatever, but I think they're gonna lose both them games. And let's see where the conversation goes then, innit? Because after that, it'll be the World Cup, you know? Everyone's got an appetite for football. Everyone's looking at managers, players. Come on, man. Chelsea fans ain't gonna be happy after losing 2 more games. 100%. Come on, man. Potter's
But
finished.
we were saying how obviously the American owners are a bit different in terms of dealing with their managers. They like to give them time, especially if there's a project in place. Do you think Bowie will give him that time, considering he came in a few weeks into the season?
Yeah, I think you will. But at the same time, it's a results business, isn't it? So if the results are not adding up, come on. You know what I mean? But I think he's there for a reason, and he's there for future in it, like 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? Because Chelsea owners they got a 10-year plan, so they can't make no profit. They can't take nothing out of the club until after 10 years. So they got to think 10 years ahead. So they're trying to make Chelsea relevant in the next 10 years. Hence the reason why they signed all these young players. They got a young manager in. We're relatively young Potter, but at the end of the day, it's a results business, like I say, Dre. So
Mm.
it's the balance in it. Where's the balance? Like, when does it become? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when does it become untenable? Like when does it
Mm,
become a problem? Then you know what I'm saying?
mm.
Like what they're gonna settle for? Top 10, or you know what I'm saying? Top 4 or trophies. It all depends in it because I think Chelsea's seventh, eighth, man. Every week
Ooh,
I watch them, it keeps getting lower. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because
But for me, they're
Skir-
seventh, man.
yeah, Skirvin mentioned earlier hasn't seen any difference between Potter and Tuchel football. What I know you've said. Oh, what's your thoughts basically? Do you think there's any difference between Potter and Tuchel when it comes to Chelsea? Is it better? Is it worse?
Big difference. Big difference. Big difference. Before they was boring, innit? They're Chelsea. Boring football, but they get results. Organized, defensively solid. You know what I'm saying? They'll stay in games, nick a game, set piece. You know what I'm saying? Free kick, corners. That's Chelsea. We know they'll get the results. Even look at their Champions League. Come on, City. Come on, it was all over them for the whole game, but that's Chelsea. They'll get the result. But see now under Potter, like I, it's just
Can I say one
confusion,
thing
bro.
though? Can I say
Yeah,
one thing though? Evening, Ronaldo, you good, bro?
yeah, love my
Hey,
brother.
love, bro. Um, there is a difference, and the difference is that there was passion under Tuchel, bro. Like Tuchel had look at the touchline thing between Tuchel and Conte at the end of that game. Tuchel was a passion man. Like at least he had a little bit about him in energy. And I know everyone says Potter's this great philosopher, manager, and he studied these psychology degrees at university. I think that's all great. But when we're actually talking about a football team and a football club, Tuchel had these players up for the games. And that's the difference.
But they say players mirror their manager.
But there you go. There you go, bro. Chelsea look passive, bro. So anyway, that's all I had to
Yeah.
say on that. But
I think
yeah,
I think they're
Tuchel had
just
energy.
confused. Yeah, Tunchel, yeah. He's come on, man. He's a world class. He's top class manager, man. He's not just any guy. Come on, bro. He conceded what 24 goals in what first 50 games, 23 goals. So he shows you can see his formula. It might be boring, but it works. It gets results. It gets trophies. You know what I mean? But with Potter, it's just confusion. Like, how can a manager in the Premier League, yeah, 2-3 games in a row, change his tactics 20 minutes in. Come on, bro. If it's not 20 minutes in, he's changing his tactics at half time.
And
Come
yeah,
on,
that's
man.
not that's a good point because
Come on.
that's not good because
You
the
know what I
players
mean? Like,
don't
come
know
on, man.
the player, especially when you come into a team and players want to have some sort of familiarity with what's going on, comfortability with knowing that if I'm playing today, I know exactly where I'm playing. If I'm Raheem Sterling, 1 minute you're up front with Aubameyang, the next week you're playing wing back next to Kukaman. What's his name?
There you
Cucurella and
go.
that.
There you go.
Man's the Kuka, man.
And bro, yeah, he does it with Kai as well. 1 minute
Mm,
Kai is up front, central striker. Then the next minute he's number 10. Then
mm.
one game I see him on the wing. You know what I'm saying, Trey? The guy's tactics is just it's weird. Like, for instance, yeah, Cucurella, because you touched on him. When he was at Brighton, he wasn't a centre back. Why all of a
Mm.
sudden now he's a centre back? It's just confusing with Pot. Like, I don't understand him sometimes. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, whatever, and say, all right, let me see what Chelsea's like. Bro, every game I watch him, he changes his tactics. Every game. It's like he's learning on the job. You know, like that. Like it's one of them ones, man.
But yeah,
Happy to move on from Arsenal, though. Happy to move on from Arsenal
yeah,
if
yeah.
you are, Jim.
Yeah, we're quickly. Ronaldo. We did talk about Arsenal briefly, but just want to get your thoughts quickly. Where do you think? What's the minimum Arsenal should expect now from the rest of the season?
As I've said before, Arsenal's going to be there until the end, innit? They've shown that every week. Even when they lose games, the football they play, you have to respect it, innit? That brand of football can win you the Premier League. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I ain't said Arsenal's going to be the only team to challenge City this season. I've said it weeks ago, months ago. You know what I mean? Like, I think not because Wavy's here, you know what I'm saying, but bro, kudos to Arsenal, innit? They're playing proper football. You know what I'm saying? And I like how they're playing. I like what they're doing. And I think, yeah, they will challenge all the way to the end. They might even nick it. Who knows?
All right, calm down.
Why not?
Calm down.
Why not?
It's not. I, oh gosh, I know. I
That's
know we're
good.
like what? Yeah, scared.
That's
I
good.
know. We're what? I know this is breaking up for the World Cup break, but we're not halfway through the season yet. So let's
What you
just.
saying? What you saying, Dre? When the rubber meets the road, yeah.
I've always said it's when it gets to February, March, and like it gets to the squeaky bum time of the season when Arsenal are expected to win games and they have to win games. That's when I want to see Arsenal. Like to me, like I said, it's a big win on Sunday because they won away at one of the big six teams, isn't it? But they've got to go to Anfield. If they can go to Anfield later in the season when they need to win a game and win, that's when I'll be like, all right, cool. And they're still close to the top. All right, cool. They're in the mix. But Sunday was the first win this season. When I'm like, all right, cool, because they've won away at one of the top six teams. And if you want to win the league, you have to at least win away at maybe a couple of the big six teams, in it. So my jury would be out towards. I've always said this end of the season with Arsenal because it's all good doing this now. Last season they flopped. They shit the bed towards the end of last season. To me, I need to see the whole season in totality. Then I'll judge Arsenal. But
Can I just say, yeah, one thing with Arsenal, yeah? Arsenal is geared for the Prem. Put a spanner in the works, yeah? Say Arsenal was to recruit one of the top 5, 10 players from the World Cup and add to that squad. What would you say? Exactly. Arsenal in the
depends who it is. Depends who it is, isn't
that's
it?
my point. They're in the perfect position to win
But
the Premier League.
who's really gonna let go of one of their top players in January after they've had a good World Cup? And you're gonna add that's gonna add like 20 million to their price tag. Big transfers don't really happen in January as well.
That's my point. But this is a particular season. This is a season that's never happened before. Things are gonna happen because players are gonna want to perform at the World Cup to get a move, because we know that's football, innit? That's how football's geared. So because it's happening in mid-season, I think a lot of transfers are gonna happen in January. That's just my opinion. I think Arsenal definitely gonna recruit. because they're geared for the Prem. They've got Edu, yeah, that's doing the business off the pitch. And they got Mikel Arteta that's doing the business. You understand? On the sidelines. And they got the players that's going out there under pressure, performing. Kudos to Arsenal, Jay, man.
I couldn't
You
have
have to
said it any better. I couldn't have
You
said
know
it
what I mean?
any better. But
You have to
no,
give them their credit, Dre. They're ahead of us in the process.
he's never going to give us
Ah,
our credit. So
whoa, whoa,
let's
whoa,
not go
whoa,
too far.
whoa,
Let's
whoa,
not go
whoa,
too
whoa.
far. We're
Whoa,
never going to get
whoa,
our credit.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. You see,
You know
there's
what I
certain
mean?
teams, like I've said way back at the start of the season, there's certain teams that if they were in this position right now, I would give them their credit. See, if Newcastle were doing this, I'll give them their credit. But certain teams, even if United were in this position, I'll give them their credit. But Arsenal, because of what happened at the back end of last season, I can't. Because they could have this good start and shit the bed. And who knows, could finish outside the top four. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I doubt it will happen, considering the start they've had to the season. But if it does happen, then why am I giving them credit for what they're doing now? To me, Arsenal, it's the end of the season. I need to see them.
Bro, we can only
I need
work
to
with the
see.
information in front of us, bro. We can
Well,
only work.
I work with the full plate, and that full plate will be presented to me after 38 games.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. No
The
problem.
jury will be out, even out 37 games, and they've got a 1 point lead, and their final home game is against, I don't know, who's bottom of the league? Forest. Still beat jury out.
Fair play, Jay. But all I'm gonna say say is the last thing I'm gonna say about Arsenal is like everyone's expecting them to lose every week, innit? And they keep winning. So
But I don't think that. I don't think that right now, I think everyone's expecting them now to win.
I think Arsenal have learnt from last season. You see, the more you talk about last season, what happened last season, they was in a transition phase last season. They was learning. They was young, Jay. I was saying that. You remember, I was telling you,
Yeah,
these guys are young. But you see, this season, they've matured. Saka, match winner. Odegaard, match
but,
winner. Jesus, match winner. Martinelli,
but,
match winner. You see,
but,
football, that's what football's about, You see,
it's
when you
easy.
got certified man on the pitch, you got a chance. Like
But
that. I
it's
have to keep
easy
it
to
real.
win these games now, innit? It's the pressure cooker games towards the end of the season.
Okay.
It's
Fair
the
You know what it is, Dre? You just got this perception that Arsenal play football against teams that is like by like 10%, but because it's like we're playing against we're playing against every team with a default naturally just because our name's Arsenal.
What have I said? I've always said Arsenal play the best football in the league, and at the end of the day, you beat what's in front of you. They've done well, but as I've said to everyone here, I've said the way they finished last season wasn't even on the players; it was on the manager, because he didn't negotiate those final few games properly, and they finished what, 5th?
Nah,
It's going to come down to
I
that.
don't think you can blame the manager. I don't think you can blame the manager.
You've got to get your players right, especially if you're going to Tottenham, North London derby towards the end of last season. That's on him. You set your players up.
Blame the manager. I don't think you can blame the manager for giving away a penalty.
Deer in headlights. They went to St James's Park. This ain't the same Newcastle that we're seeing now. The Newcastle Globetrotters and that, with Almiron looking like bloody prime, I don't know, Luis Figo and that. You went there with John Joe Sylvie and what's his name? Steve Longstaff and that, and you got beat. That's on the manager. That's what I'm saying. The one game, they've had certain games this season where they've done well, but Manchester United away, where Arsenal had us on the ropes. I thought Arsenal were going to win when they made it 1-1. My man's all making 3 substitutions, going gun ho with half an hour left. Them type of decisions there might not mean nothing now, but in the bigger games towards the end of the season, if he does sinners like that, that can cost you the league.
What's he done since then? What's he done since then? And
He ain't played no one big. He ain't had one of those big games yet.
We haven't played Liverpool. We ain't played Liverpool.
Oh, the corpse of Liverpool.
Jay, you gotta be balanced.
They passed the test.
We ain't played Chelsea. We didn't play Chelsea.
Wait, I just said they passed the test on Sunday. They passed the test on Sunday. They passed the test. That's a good test. Well done. Kudos. All right, you've got to go to the empty hand. You've got to go to Anfield, and you've got to go to the toilet bowl at North London, innit?
All right,
That's
bro.
it.
I'm going on mute.
Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. And I'm not an Arsenal hater. I'm a critique of Arsenal. Innit? Critique. Anyway.
It's them years, girl. You remember them years, girl?
Ah,
Them
love
Vieira
it.
days. Them
We
Vieira
need to
days.
let go, bro. We need to let
Let
go.
it go,
He's
Jay.
moving,
Let
he's
it go.
Ah,
moving like
love it.
Roy Keane, bro. He's moving like Roy Keane, cuz.